I think that is a record time game switchover, he says, and yet the game... Ah, there we go! Here he is, the Stanley Parable. Right. So, the Stanley Parable is... it's a very existential game. I'm going to restart the voting now. Don't forget to join and vote Heaven or Hell for the next game session. I see I'm still recovering from the shock of Spider Spell. I can barely speak. Let's play a bit of the Stanley Parable. Thank you for that vote there, sir. Did you manage to see Spider Spell just now? Because that's what you caused. I'm so glad I get to play a fun game.
This is the story of a man.
I actually had a chest X-ray the other week, and I don't know if I mentioned that. My throat is okay for the moment. I feel like I'm going to go very hoarse. Oh, I need to turn this back up because Spider Spell was so goddamn loud. Oh no, I've actually accidentally skipped the intro. But all you need to know is that Stanley is an office worker who presses buttons in the office. But one day, his machine usually says like, press this, press that, press the other thing. And one day his machine stopped giving him commands, so now he has to explore the outside. This looks a little choppy on the stream, but it's because it's...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Can you hear...
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Can you hear that okay? If you can't hear the game above the sounds of my voice, tell me.
He couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
The narrator there narrates the actions that you do, much like Bastion.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Turn up a little, just a touch. Okay. If you guys want me to do something specific, just go ahead and tell me. This is your stream after all. It's not my stream, it's your stream. Well, that's not true actually, no, it is my stream. But I want this to be interactive.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Look at these Microsoft Office slides. That's what I do in work. Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic in the header and throw some bevel on all the text. This will ensure a calm and productive work environment. What do people want? Money? Oh. This is about, you know, corporate attitudes. Number of slides on this slide. Meta.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Have any of you seen this game before, by the way? Can't go in there.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret...
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to highlight the Stanley Parable. I do this thing where I'm highlighting the game so you can see We're not playing that junk anymore, no. Oh no, all my secrets are revealed. You can see the software that I'm using for my game tracker. Which explains why. Oh, hang on. I'm missing plot. Sorry. I genuinely missed the plot there. I think it just told me the right numbers.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
Amazing.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oh, look at that 50-50 split on the votes. What are the odds?
Descending deeper into the building,
Well,
Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Feeling really itchy now. It's somewhere in between. I mean, it explores a lot of the ideas of what a video game actually is. But you'll see, the best way to witness or experience the Stanley Parable is to just sort of let it happen, and to go the correct way.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
You seen this?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I'm still feeling sweaty after that. Don't encourage each other.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Or whatever number Stanley was, I know somebody had printed that out and they used to stick it on.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Oh.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Hey, we played a very similar game to Fallout before called Wasted. That was kind of like a dungeon crawler that built itself as a pub crawler. But it was basically like you go through like Fallout style vaults in this like cell shaded cartoonish reality. It was pretty fun. System power.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Oh,
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud you.
I broke the story.
You understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape
The narrator's very upset.
desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated?
Oh no.
All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
Wait, I don't understand.
Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next one will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much.
Oh, I'm ruined.
You know what?
I should have played the story. Oh, that was a 10. There's a light blue button with 1 somewhere. Is that?
Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it.
I really regret pushing the wrong button.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it cut, or don't.
Oh wait, he's turned off the monitors.
All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
The Stanley Parable is a game about choices. I meant to do the proper story playthrough, just so you guys could see what it was like
Already
first.
this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Wait, what? So I'm gonna try and get like the proper story ending.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
It works best if you see the full story and then.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling
So let's
worried
pretend that
and
didn't happen,
disbelief,
and I just was
Stanley
confused
decided
as
to
to
go
where my
back to
colleagues
his
went.
boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, we're tied on the votes.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Let me into the thing of the keypad before he said it, so now I have, because I'm rushing, I can listen to some calming new age music.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Down we go.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay, we know what we're doing this time, right guys?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I would argue nothing's as sinister like some low bit rate, like minor key chiptune music, but there we go.
Jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them,
So that one's got an error on it.
place where freedom meant nothing.
Is that somebody who's fired? We'll keep an eye on that screen with an error. No?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation.
Okay, this time
Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad.
I'm going to turn the
or
mind
content,
control facility
walking,
off.
Eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life.
We turned off the mind control device, guys.
And a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
That's a nice end, isn't it? That's if we follow the story. That's how this story is supposed to go. But now, it's in your hands, guys. You tell me if you want me to go a separate way, or if you want me to try something. Just moisturize my face. Any suggestions for what I should do different this playthrough?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The right door this time, okay. What are you guys chatting on about? Like, accents. Oops. Two of y'all in the chat who were like, have we met? You haven't, but you probably will at some point. So, right door.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Passive aggressiveness. Everything the opposite, okay.
Back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So, you want me to ignore that then?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. May cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift $5,000. Do I have to activate this or? Oh no,
Stanley,
okay.
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
I feel like you would want me to unplug the phone from the
As
socket.
Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not
Just
just with
ignored me.
convenience, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything.
You're troublemakers.
I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
This is what you guys have done.
It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Oh! Gosh, I've got to go through an instructional program because of you guys. Oh no, wait, you're supposed to actually practice.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction.
So it has.
Not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Okay. That's locked.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all.
No,
We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality. Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the
Oh,
correct
you
ending.
guys.
The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
So, we're revisiting the choice that we made.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I think you guys make terrible choices given how you voted fair and hell so far. But I'm leaving this one up to you. Do you want me to go the left door or the right door? I've got a feeling I know what you're going to say, but I want someone to confirm it. Let it not be said that Basically, I am democratic. Right, there we go.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction.
Uh-oh.
Perhaps we're not too late.
Guys, you broke reality, look.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Oh gosh. Oh my god, this is frightening.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility.
Hey guys, we're
You would have
halfway
destroyed
through.
it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect.
Just
I
over
worked
halfway
so
through.
hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always
What
putting
happened
the
there?
story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Well, I'm gonna go left and then ignore everything else, like the second suggestion.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his
I'm
boss's
sure I could go
office.
downstairs before. Can I go in the bathroom? No. Wait, this isn't what it looked like
Stepping
before.
inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
This is different.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Should I just wait around and ignore that? What's with that creepy panda? Hello?
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Nope, not doing it. Not doing it.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine, you're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices.
I don't think I can
He knows what
interact
it
with
means
that.
to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You
I
could have
did.
done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
Oh, I think
door on his left.
you upset the narrator, guys.
Stanley? Hello? Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please.
It's a codependent relationship. Don't forget to vote if you haven't done so already. Make your choice carefully.
More important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. We need time to decide.
We've got about 15 minutes left on Stanley Parable,
Correct.
and then I'll move on to the next game. So, oh, it looks like it's suddenly just swinging around to heaven.
I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
There's Stanley. Look at him with his derpy face. Exactly, except don't vote off him because you can only vote once.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Any recommendations for
Stanley
this
decided
run,
to go
guys?
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Left or right door?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So this is a good game to enjoyable for you to watch. Right? Left, okay, got it. Left and then downstairs. Aye, so you're gonna have to compete with each other who gets included.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might...
But I don't think I can go backwards, you know, the door's closed behind you.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream.
It's all getting a bit existential.
Float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Well, a way to break the atmosphere in the chat there. It's supposed to be existential. It's supposed to make you think about the nature of work and who we are and what we do with our lives, and all you can come up with is Mariella is my stripper name.
All of his co-workers were gone.
I think we've got time for one more ending, guys. Again, please do tell me what you want me to do. I think the last one, somebody, we had a suggestion to go right, so that's what I'll... This looks different. Was it me or did that look different?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open
So I'll go right because somebody requested that. Yeah.
This was not the correct
I've gone right.
meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oh no, that was a yawn.
Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room.
Different dialogue to what
Thank
we had
goodness
before.
Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
What do you want me to do, guys? I have a decision point. I'm also really sniffly for some reason. Left, okay.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Again, decision. The narrator says I should go forwards. There is a lift. I feel like you're going to tell me to use the lift, aren't you? Yeah, if you not played the Stanley Parable through, it's a really interesting game, and it does so many fun things. And I definitely well recommend playing it through, trying to get all the endings, seeing all the content.
He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
I don't think I can go any other way.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see, we went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding?
Yeah, there's something quite meta about this.
Story completely unusable.
Yes.
How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
Oh, it's a rubbish end.
And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Oh, that sucked, that ending. We'll do one more because this. I feel like you enjoyed this game.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Well, maybe I will think for myself this time, okay?
When Stanley... Wait.
Oh, hang on.
Wait, what? No, no, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over,
Oh no,
completely
okay,
fresh.
there's
Everything
more to
should
this
be...
ending.
Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Find the story. Got it.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything? Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
Yes, guys, we won!
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Oh, guys, I can follow the line or not. Preference? Okay, I'll follow the line.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit
Hey,
of
welcome
music
back.
to lighten the mood.
You came back at a great time.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
This.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Okay. We're well over our 55 minutes, by the way, but I feel like you're going to want to see this through to the conclusion.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story is... Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart. You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Okay.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley.
I like having
so
you as a
to veto the
trademark.
line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we
By which I mean your control.
Opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Gosh, that made me jump.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
To destiny.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
You'll remember that
That's
we've
really
done all
how
these.
all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again.
Oh yeah, gosh, we're only on the
Just
fifth
supposed to
restart.
forget?
You're right, I think we'll play
Well,
this
what if I
through.
don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing.
So next we've got a fifth restart, narrator forgets,
Well,
Stanley attempts to play the
listen
story
to
but is
me.
prevented, unable to go
What do I get to
anywhere,
decide?
game restarts on its
Why
own,
don't
sixth
I get a
restart,
say in all of this?
final
Is it
line,
really- No, it can't be. I don't want it to be.
seventh restart, there is no longer an offer, simply black
Restart.
space.
I don't want to forget what's
Get
going
bored
on.
will leave,
I
narrator
don't want to be
restarts the
trapped
game,
like
eighth
this.
restart, the
I
narrator
won't
is gone after a
restart
long
the
time,
game.
Stanley dies, so
do it. I
this is
won't
what's going to
do it.
happen, I think.
won't do it.
The confusion ending.
Stopped?
Oh. Uh-oh.
Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Uh-oh. That made me jump as well.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Okay, so this is the fifth
Stanley
restart.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had...
I don't mind playing this for over an hour, because I think it's quite entertaining. And I'm moving up to heaven next anyway.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Unless that was the ending.
Yet there was not a single person here.
I'm confused about the confusion
Feeling
ending.
a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
It
office.
does look like,
Hoping him coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
This
office.
does look pretty normal. Yeah, this is normal.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Yeah, I think that was the confusion ending in its entirety. So, you guys have overwhelmingly, well, not quite overwhelmingly, 4 to 2 voted for heaven. So we're going to move further up on the heaven track. Let's find out what game number 11 is going to be. It's the Pink Panther Passport to Peril, which is going to be a really good one. I'm really glad you guys have picked this while you're watching. I'm going to have 5 minutes, just have a little bit of a hydration break, set this up, see if I can break out of the mind control and the existential meta things that are going on in my head, and I will see you in 5 minutes.